The morning sun casts a warm glow through the curtains of our bedroom, but I feel nothing but cold inside. Today is supposed to be the day we fly to Egypt, a trip that's been on our bucket list for years. I roll over in bed and reach for Rebecca, expecting to find her beside me, her dark hair splayed across the pillow. Instead, my hand meets an empty space, the sheets cold and untouched. "Becca?" I call out, my voice echoing in the silent house. A chill of unease runs down my spine as I get up and check the bathroom. Empty. The kitchen, the living room, even the backyard, all vacant. It's strange, she never leaves without saying something. My phone buzzes on the nightstand, and I snatch it up, hoping for a message from her. It's a text from my best friend, Steve. "Hey man, ready for the big trip?" My fingers hover over the screen, but I can't bring myself to reply. I try calling Rebecca, but it goes straight to voicemail. Panic begins to claw at my chest. I head back to the bedroom and open her closet. Her suitcase is gone. My heart pounds louder. The tickets, where are the tickets? I rush to the dresser where we kept our travel documents. The envelope with our tickets is gone too. My mind races, thoughts tangling into a knot of confusion and dread. Did she leave? Did something happen to her? I sink onto the bed, the weight of the situation pressing down on me. As I sit there, my phone buzzes again. This time, it's a message from an unknown number. "Hope you don't mind, but Becca and I decided to take that trip to Egypt ourselves. Don't bother looking for us. Goodbye." The room spins, and I clutch the edge of the bed for support. This can't be real. My wife, my Rebecca, ran off with someone else? I reread the message, anger and hurt swirling inside me. How could she do this? How could she betray me like this? I stand up, pacing the room, trying to process the betrayal. Images of us planning the trip, the excitement in her eyes, now feel like cruel jokes. My phone buzzes again, and this time, it's a photo. Rebecca and a man I've never seen before, smiling in an airport lounge. The timestamp shows it was taken just a few hours ago. Bastard, I mutter, my hands shaking with rage. I can't just sit here and do nothing. I grab my phone and dial Steve's number, my fingers trembling. "Hey, Tom." "What's up?" Steve's cheerful voice is a stark contrast to my turmoil. "Steve, she's gone," I say, my voice breaking. "Rebecca's gone. She took the tickets and flew to Egypt with some guy." "What? Are you serious? That doesn't make any sense." "It's true. I got a message from some number, and there's a photo of them at the airport. I don't know what to do, Steve. I'm devastated." There's a pause on the other end before Steve speaks again, his tone now serious. "Tom, listen to me. You need to stay calm. Come over to my place, and we'll figure this out together. You're not alone in this." Numbly, I agree and hang up. I throw on some clothes and head out the door, my mind a whirlwind of anger and despair. The drive to Steve's place is a blur, and before I know it, I'm standing on his doorstep. He opens the door, concern etched on his face. "Tom, come in," he says, ushering me inside. "Tell me everything." I recount the morning's events, the messages, the photo, my emotions spilling out like a dam that's burst. Steve listens, his brow furrowing deeper with each detail. "We need to find out who this guy is," Steve says finally. "Maybe that'll give us some answers." "How?" I ask, feeling helpless. I don't even know where to start. "Let's start with the message. Give me your phone." He takes it and begins tapping away, a determined look in his eyes. "We'll trace the number, see if we can get any information." As Steve works, I sit there, my mind replaying the past few months. Were there signs I missed? Times when Rebecca seemed distant or distracted? The thought of her with another man, planning this behind my back, fuels my anger. I need to do something, anything to get her back, or at least make her regret this betrayal. Steve looks up from the phone, a grim smile on his face. I've got a lead. The number's registered to a guy named Mark Lewis. He's got a social media profile. Let's see what we can find. We dive into the digital trail, piecing together fragments of Mark's life. Photos of him and Rebecca surface, moments they've shared that I had no clue about. The realization that their affair has been going on for months crushes me. How blind have I been? But amidst the pain, a resolve hardens within me. Rebecca's betrayal won't go unanswered. I look at Steve, a fierce determination in my eyes. I'm going to Egypt. I'm going to confront them both. Steve nods, understanding my need for closure. Let's get you a new ticket. You'll need a plan when you get there. As we book my flight, a sense of purpose fills me. This isn't just about revenge. It's about reclaiming my life, my dignity. Rebecca thought she could break me, but she's wrong. This is just the beginning. And by the time I'm done, she'll wish she had never betrayed me. The flight to Cairo is long and grueling. I spend the majority of it staring blankly at the in-flight movie, my mind miles away. The knot in my stomach tightens with each passing hour, my thoughts consumed with Rebecca and her lover, Mark. How could she throw away our years together for someone she barely knows? As the plane descends, I take a deep breath, steeling myself for what lies ahead. I'm not here for sightseeing. This trip is about confrontation and closure. I step off the plane into the bustling chaos of Cairo International Airport. The air is thick with heat and the unfamiliar scent of spices. I make my way through customs, my eyes scanning the crowd for any sign of Rebecca. I know it's a long shot, but a part of me hopes she'll be here, that I can end this nightmare quickly. Outside the terminal, I hail a cab and give the driver the address of the hotel where Rebecca and I had planned to stay. I don't know if she's there, but it's a starting point. The cab weaves through the chaotic traffic, and I try to piece together a plan. Confronting them in public might be messy, but I need to catch them off guard. The hotel is a grand structure, opulent and intimidating. I approach the front desk, my heart pounding. The receptionist, a young woman with a warm smile, greets me. Welcome to the Nile Grand Hotel. How can I assist you? I'm looking for my wife, Rebecca Turner. We were supposed to check in together, but there's been a mix-up. Can you tell me if she's here? The receptionist types on her computer, her brow furrowing. I'm sorry, but I can't give out that information. Hotel policy. I lean in, desperation in my eyes. Please, it's really important. She's in trouble, and I need to find her. Her expression softens, and she glances around before lowering her voice. All right, but you didn't hear this from me. Mrs. Turner checked in yesterday with a Mr. Lewis. They're staying in room 812. Thank you, I say, my voice trembling. I turn away, my mind racing. Room 812. I take the elevator, my heart hammering in my chest. What will I say when I see her? What if she refuses to come back with me? The elevator dings, and I step out onto the 8th floor. The hallway is silent, the carpet plush beneath my feet. I approach room 812, my hand shaking as I raise it to knock. Before I can, the door swings open, and there she is. Rebecca. Her eyes widen in shock, and for a moment, neither of us speaks. Tom, she whispers, her voice a mix of surprise and fear. Rebecca, I say, my voice hard. We need to talk. And give the driver the address shoulder, and I see Mark lounging on the bed, a smug smile on his face. The sight of him fuels my anger, and I step into the room, pushing past Rebecca. What the hell is going on? I demand, my voice rising. How could you do this to me? Mark stands up, his expression cocky. Look, man, I know this is a shock, but you need to calm down. Calm down? I shout, my fists clenching. You've stolen my wife, ruined my life, and you expect me to calm down? Rebecca steps between us, her eyes pleading. Tom, please, let's talk about this rationally. I'm sorry, but things haven't been right between us for a long time. That's your excuse? I ask, my voice shaking with anger. Instead of working on our problems, you run off with this guy? Mark steps forward, his face inches from mine. Back off, Tom. Rebecca made her choice. I stare him down, my blood boiling. You think you can just take what's mine and get away with it? Tom, stop, Rebecca says, her voice firm. This isn't helping. I take a step back, my chest heaving. Fine. You've made your choice. But don't think for a second that this is over. You'll regret betraying me. I turn and storm out of the room, the door slamming behind me. My mind is a whirlwind of anger and hurt. Rebecca's betrayal cuts deep, but Mark's arrogance infuriates me. I need to think, to plan my next move. Back in the lobby, I find a quiet corner and sit down, my head in my hands. I need help, someone who knows the area and can assist me in getting even. I remember a contact I have here, an old college friend, Amir. He always said to call if I ever found myself in Egypt. I dial his number, my fingers trembling. After a few rings, he answers. Tom. Long time, no hear. What's up? Amir, I need your help. It's urgent. Can we meet? Of course. I'll be at the cafe near the hotel in 20 minutes. I hang up and head to the cafe, my mind racing with possibilities. Amir is well connected, and if anyone can help me turn the tables on Rebecca and Mark, it's him. The cafe is bustling with locals and tourists, the aroma of coffee and pastries filling the air. I spot Amir at a corner table, his dark eye scanning the crowd. He waves me over, a concerned look on his face. Tom, you look like hell. What's going on? I sit down, and the story spills out of me: Rebecca's betrayal, the trip to Egypt, my confrontation with Mark. Amir listens, his expression growing more serious with each word. That's rough, man, he says when I finish. But you're in luck. I have some friends who might be able to help you get some payback. What do you mean? I ask, leaning in. Amir smiles, a glint of mischief in his eyes. Let's just say I know people who specialize in making life very difficult for those who deserve it. And it sounds like Mark and Rebecca do. A sense of hope fills me, and I nod. All right. What do we do next? Leave it to me, Amir says, pulling out his phone. I'll make some calls. In the meantime, stay strong. We'll make sure they regret ever crossing you. As Amir makes his calls, I sit back, my anger slowly being replaced by determination. Rebecca thought she could break me, but she underestimated my resolve. With Amir's help, I'll show them both that betraying me was the worst mistake of their lives. The following morning, I wake up to a phone call from Amir. His voice is calm but carries a sense of urgency. Tom, it's time. Meet me at the cafe in half an hour. We have work to do. I quickly get dressed, my heart racing with anticipation. Last night, Amir promised that he'd help me get even. Now, it seems, the plan is in motion. I grab my phone and wallet and head out of the hotel, determined to see this through. The cafe is bustling with the morning rush, and I spot Amir at our usual corner table. He's not alone. Beside him sits a tall, imposing man with a shaved head and a steely expression. Amir waves me over, and I join them, my curiosity piqued. Tom, this is Khalid, Amir says, introducing the man. He's an old friend and an expert in finding people who don't want to be found. Khalid nods, his eyes assessing me. Amir told me about your situation. I've done some digging, and I've found out a few things about Mark Lewis. Like what? I ask, leaning in. Khalid pulls out a folder and slides it across the table. Mark Lewis isn't who he says he is. He's a con artist, with a string of victims from here to Europe. He seduces women, convinces them to invest in fake business ventures, and then disappears with their money. My heart sinks. Rebecca isn't just cheating on me, she's being conned. The realization fuels my resolve. We need to stop him before he takes everything from her. Amir nods. That's the plan. But first, we need to find out where they are. They checked out of the hotel early this morning. Do you have any leads? I ask, desperate for a direction. Khalid smirks. I have my ways. We'll find them. But we need to act fast. We leave the cafe and pile into Khalid's car, a sleek black SUV that blends into the Cairo traffic. Khalid drives with a purpose, his eyes scanning the road. I have contacts who keep an eye on the city's high-end hotels and tourist spots. If they're here, we'll find them. We drive for what feels like hours, Khalid making phone calls and speaking in rapid Arabic. Amir translates for me when necessary, keeping me in the loop. Finally, we get a break. One of Khalid's contacts spotted Mark and Rebecca at a luxury resort on the outskirts of the city. We arrive at the resort, a sprawling complex with palm trees and fountains. Khalid parks the car, and we make our way to the lobby. Khalid approaches the receptionist, flashing a badge I didn't know he had. The receptionist pales and quickly provides the information we need. Mark and Rebecca are in a private bungalow at the far end of the property. As we walk towards the bungalow, my mind races with possibilities. What will I say to Rebecca? How will I confront Mark? My thoughts are interrupted by Amir's voice. Tom, remember to stay calm. We need to catch him off guard, but we also need to make sure Rebecca understands what's happening. I nod, taking deep breaths to steady myself. We reach the bungalow, and Khalid motions for us to stay back while he checks the perimeter. He returns a moment later, nodding. They're inside. Ready? I swallow hard and nod. Khalid knocks on the door, and we wait. After a moment, the door opens, and there stands Mark, a look of shock and anger flashing across his face. What the hell are you doing here? He demands, trying to close the door, but Khalid pushes it open, forcing his way inside. Amir and I follow, and I finally see Rebecca, sitting on the couch, her face pale. Tom, she whispers, her voice trembling. What's going on? Rebecca, you need to listen to me, I say, my voice steady but urgent. Mark isn't who you think he is. He's a con artist. Mark laughs, but there's a nervous edge to it. Don't listen to him, Rebecca. He's just trying to cause trouble. Khalid steps forward, his presence intimidating. Mark Lewis, or should I say Marcus Levin, you're under arrest for fraud and theft. Rebecca's eyes widen in shock. What? No, that can't be true. It's true, Rebecca, Amir says, stepping beside me. We have evidence. He's been using you. Mark's facade cracks, and he makes a break for the door, but Khalid is faster, tackling him to the ground and restraining him. I turn to Rebecca, who looks like she's about to collapse. Rebecca, I know this is a lot to take in, but you need to trust me. He was going to steal everything from you. Tears stream down her face as she shakes her head, trying to process everything. Tom, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I step closer, my anger softening into concern. I know, Rebecca. But now you do. We can get through this. Khalid hauls Mark to his feet, cuffing him. We'll take him to the authorities. You two should talk. As Khalid and Amir lead Mark out, Rebecca and I are left alone in the bungalow. She collapses onto the couch, her body shaking with sobs. I sit beside her, unsure of what to say. The betrayal still stings, but seeing her like this, I can't help but feel compassion. Why, Tom? She asks through her tears. Why did this happen? I sigh, running a hand through my hair. I don't know, Rebecca. But we'll figure it out. Together. She looks up at me, her eyes filled with regret. Can you ever forgive me? I take a deep breath, the weight of the past few days pressing down on me. It's going to take time, Rebecca. But I want to try. We both made mistakes, Let's start by getting you out of this mess. She nods, wiping her tears. Thank you, Tom. For everything. As we leave the bungalow, a sense of cautious hope fills me. The path ahead won't be easy, but for the first time, I feel like we have a chance to rebuild. Together, we'll face whatever comes next, and with Amir and Khalid's help, we'll make sure Mark pays for his deceit. The following weeks are a whirlwind. After Mark is taken into custody, Rebecca and I return to our hotel. The weight of everything that has happened presses heavily on us, but there's also a sense of determination to move forward. We spend hours talking, trying to understand where things went wrong and how we ended up in this mess. Rebecca is full of apologies, and while I appreciate her remorse, the hurt is still raw. Trusting her again will be difficult, but I'm willing to try for the sake of our history and the life we've built together. We decide to stay in Egypt for a few more days, hoping a change of scenery might help us reconnect. On our last night in Cairo, we decide to have dinner at a quaint restaurant by the Nile. The evening is warm, and the city lights reflect off the water, creating a beautiful and serene atmosphere. We sit at a table by the window, the tension between us slowly easing as we enjoy the meal and each other's company. Tom, Rebecca says, her voice soft, I know it will take time, but I want you to know that I'm committed to making things right. I nod, taking her hand. I believe you, Rebecca. Let's take it one day at a time. As we finish our meal, my phone buzzes. It's a message from Amir, asking if we can meet at the cafe. He says it's important. I show Rebecca the message, and we decide to head over, curious about what he needs to tell us. We arrive at the cafe to find Amir and Khalid waiting for us. They have serious expressions, and my stomach tightens with apprehension. We sit down, and Amir leans forward, his voice low. Tom, Rebecca, there's something you both need to know. We've been investigating Mark, but we found something unexpected. What is it? I ask, my heart pounding. Khalid hands me a folder. Inside, you'll find records, emails, and photos. Mark wasn't working alone. He had an accomplice. I open the folder and start flipping through the documents. My blood runs cold as I recognize the face in the photos. It's someone I know very well. Rebecca. What the hell is this? I demand, turning to Rebecca, my anger rising. Rebecca's face pales as she looks at the photos. Tom, I swear, I don't know what this is. I had no idea. Really? I snap, throwing the folder on the table. These emails are from your account. You've been in on this from the beginning, haven't you? Tears fill Rebecca's eyes, and she shakes her head. Tears fill Rebecca's eyes. Tom, you have to believe me. Mark must have hacked my account or something. I would never do this to you. Amir sighs, looking between us. Tom, we didn't want to believe it either, but the evidence is overwhelming. Rebecca and Mark were working together to con you. We found messages planning the whole thing. I feel like I've been punched in the gut. Everything we've been through, the betrayal, the supposed remorse, it's all a lie. I stand up, unable to contain my rage. Was any of it real, Rebecca? I shout, my voice echoing in the cafe. Or was I just another mark for you to scam? Rebecca stands too, her tears flowing freely. Tom, I swear, I didn't know. I love you. This isn't me. I turn to Amir and Khalid. What happens now? Khalid speaks up, his voice steady. We've handed all the evidence over to the authorities. Mark will face charges for his crimes. Rebecca, well, that's up to you. I look at Rebecca, my heart breaking. I can't do this anymore. I don't know what to believe, but I know I can't trust you. We're done. Rebecca sobs, reaching out for me, but I step back. Tom, please. Don't do this. I have to, Rebecca. You destroyed everything we had. I can't forgive this. I turn and walk out of the cafe, my heart heavy with sorrow and anger. Amir follows me outside, his hand on my shoulder. Tom, I'm sorry it had to end this way. I nod, unable to speak. I feel a mix of relief and devastation. As much as it hurts, I know this is the right decision. Rebecca's betrayal is too deep, too painful to ever truly heal from. The next day, I book a flight back home. The city that once held the promise of adventure and discovery now feels tainted by the memories of betrayal and deceit. As the plane takes off, I look out the window, the vast desert below a stark contrast to the turmoil inside me. Back home, I throw myself into work, trying to rebuild my life piece by piece. The days turn into weeks, and slowly, the pain begins to dull. Amir keeps in touch, checking in on me, his support a lifeline during the darkest moments. Months later, I receive a letter from Rebecca. It's a heartfelt apology, filled with regret and sorrow. She insists she didn't know about Mark's true intentions, that she was manipulated just as I was. But it doesn't matter anymore. The trust is broken beyond repair. I write back, wishing her well but making it clear that our paths will never cross again. The chapter of my life with Rebecca is closed, and I'm determined to move forward, to find happiness and peace on my own terms. In the end, the deception is revealed, and the main characters part forever, their lives forever changed by the events that transpired in Egypt. The hatred for the cheating and betrayal lingers, a reminder of the fragility of trust and the cost of deceit. But in time, I learn to let go, to forgive, not for Rebecca's sake, but for my own. And as I do, I find a new sense of freedom, ready to embrace whatever the future holds.